Hey guys, how are we all doing? Just wanted to give a quick market update as we just had a monthly close and what can we expect to come in the next couple of weeks, next couple of months. So first of all, just quickly taking a look at the monthly, we obviously failed to close above the key important level on the monthly, which is about 10,400. Right, so we've actually closed underneath our monthly order block, right? This is more of a bearish sign than anything. We've obviously failed to hold support after obviously breaking above that, right? So this is not really a good look for the bulls, that's for sure, as the bulls would have much rather close above here, and that would have been giving us a lot more inspiration for a bullish month, a bullish continuation, at least up to the 14K level, and a break above here. So at the moment, obviously, the monthly is looking pretty bearish. And in my opinion, the monthly looks like it wants to come back down to here and test this level, which is around the 7,500 level, and then probably take off from there, right? So that's just a quick look at the monthly. Typically, we don't have too many 2 months in a row on Bitcoin to the downside when we're in a bull market. Obviously, we know we had that 6 months, red 6 months in a row back here. Right, so we had our red 6 months in a row back here. That was obviously in the very depths of the bear market, right? Which doesn't happen too often in Bitcoin, for example, right? So I would say most likely we're more of in a situation like this, right? Where we just had a really strong rally, right? We sort of had this rally sort of took off at a lot quicker time than this one did. Obviously, this took many more months than this one. This was really all sort of done in 3 months, this big pump, whereas this took a lot longer, right? So possibly the market is in this phase here of going sideways, or it's in this phase here of just that little pullback on the 2 months, and then we start to take off again. I could definitely see something like that happening. Just to give you a bit of an example. Right on the Fibonacci here. If we take that down and have a quick look, we're about pushing into the 0.618 level is where that perfectly tagged. Now, if we take a look here, right, we all actually came up and tagged the 0.618 level as well, and now we're having that same pullback as we were when we were right at this level as well. So there's a few different indicators which is sort of telling me that this is actually the area that the market's in. So we had that pump, and we had the July and August pullback, which is actually the exact same here. So we had the July and August pullback, and now the market's getting ready to take off again, right? So just have to wait and really see how this one plays out. I wouldn't be surprised if we did have at least a pullback down to somewhere in the mid-8 levels, probably at the very least, and then we take off, so we can have a nice wick pointing down, and then we paint a nice green candle up here with a close probably, well, I'm hoping for a close above 11,600, which is a key level on the weekly, which I'll show you in a second. All right, so let's go check out the weekly. This is how the weekly looks at the moment. Right, we've got a lot of support underneath. This guy should be green, actually. Let's flip that because it's support. Right, so obviously we're sitting on support right now. The support level has been tested multiple times though, so it's getting weaker and weaker. This box here is actually a daily order block support, which we've actually wicked into twice already and bounced out. We never got a close inside that level either. So this key level of support, which is taken from this level back here in 2018, is still holding the market up. So at the moment, all we've really had is a really strong push, right? And then had some sideways chop. We had a double top up here, obviously, which I told everybody, the double top 3 weeks ago. If we didn't close above that, it was going to be bearish. And what do you know? We had that big pullback. It's been about $2,000 pullback over the last 3 weeks. And we've just been really choppy and going sideways, right? So it's very highly likely that we just continue to go sideways like this for a little bit more and before we break out, right? This is a very high probability that something like this could also play out, right? So need to be aware of that. If we do lose this level, which it seems to be getting tested pretty heavily at the moment, I believe we're probably going to break through the daily and definitely going to be testing this level down here, which is the next weekly support. So I'm expecting 8,400 at least to get tested, and then come back up like this and something like that, right? The other option as well, there will be a level of support probably at the top here, but I don't think it's going to be that strong. It's just going to be where the bulls mount their argument from and start to really buy in and push the market back up. But typically Bitcoin does like to set up these flag patterns and then break down and just get everybody stopped out and then take off again. You got to remember that markets are curious as well, and they like to test areas to see if there is people, in those areas that are going to be buying to push the price up for continuation, or if people are going to be selling in that area. So the market is probably going to come down and break this level at some point to test to see if there's going to be continuation sellers in this area, or if sellers are going to dry up in this area, and see if the bulls are going to step in and take control of the market again, right? So I would say it's very likely that the market will probe into this area just to test to see, because there's a bit of blank space in this area, right, that hasn't been filled. So I would say that there's a high chance the market is going to come down at some point probably in the next month to fill this space and just test to see if there are buyers in this area, which I think there will be, and we could see the market really start to take off if we do come down into this area. I will definitely be buying from 8,500 all the way down to 8,100 and expecting a bounce off this level here of support. Right, so that's the weekly. The weekly's still looking good, as it could also just end up being a triple bottom. So let's go and have a look at the daily, right? So this is our daily right now. The bullish argument is that we've had one bottom here, two bottoms here, three bottoms here, all sort of bouncing off this level. Right. This is our daily order block just here. Right, so we wicked into this area twice. Are we going to get this area tested again? I thought we were going to have this area tested a couple of days ago on Friday, but it didn't really get tested, and we didn't really get the hammer reversal pattern that I was looking for. And it's sort of been put in here on this one, and it's just slowly bleeding up. Lower time frames sort of show that this could also be a bit of a bear flag. Have to see how this resolves. At the moment, this area has been obviously probed pretty heavily twice, and then this wick down into this area the third time. So this is the fourth time we're actually in this space. On lower time frames, it really does look a lot similar to the price action when we're over here. So to me, these two areas look very, very similar. And what I'm looking for is a break out of this level. A break out of this level, which it's sort of starting to do now. It's really pushing to the upside, right? And retest it and then take off. Similar to like what happened here. So we broke out of this level quite convincingly, tagged this level up here, and then came back down, held it as support. We wicked in, obviously, held it as support, and then the market took off, right? So this is a good area to be buying, right? So I'm looking for this to sort of pop out like that, right? So I can get in some nice buys there, and then it takes off if the level holds, right? Another thing to play this as well is this level isn't really that strong, right? So, you could have 5% stop loss on this one and be buying here with your 5% stop loss, but you want to make sure that's clear of these wicks. And the other thing as well that you need to be careful of is getting caught out by a wick if you're buying here, which is sort of a bit of a resistance level, getting wicked into down here. So that's why I like to buy a retest of support rather than buying the resistance level. The other thing as well to look at is that there's this little 4-hour level of resistance here. Right, so we need to be aware of this. So something that would be quite bullish and would trigger a trade setup for me is if we actually broke out of here, right, retested this level as bullish, held it as support, and then took off, right? That would be a really nice area to be buying in, and stop loss could just be below this level here, right? Okay, so on a bit more of a higher time frame look here of what's happening in the market, we do have this trend line coming down through here as well, which has been quite meaningful. So it would be very bullish if we broke this trend line to the upside, right? I think it's actually on the hourly. I'm sort of trying to force it on the 4 hour, but there's an hourly trend line through here that, you know, we've obviously hit into once, twice, 3 times, right? If this gets tested again, it'll be the 4th test of this trend line, which obviously could lead to a breakout, right? So what we would want to see is this come out, retest this level, hold as support, then take off and break out through here, right? Probably get caught underneath the monthly again, and then come and retest this as support, right? This would be very, very bullish for the market. Then what we need to be aware of is that it could get rejected by this level here, right? The descending trend line, right? And dump back down to here, which would make the descending trend line, the descending triangle very, very real because we've already had 1, 2. This would be the 4th touch of this trend line, right? And we really have that shape of that descending trend line quite obvious, right? So if this happens, right, this is going to definitely be a sell here, and we're looking for something like this, right? And then take off, you know, if it doesn't dump all the way back down to 6K from there. Right, so obviously we're still in a bull market. This is sort of looking like a little bit of a top pattern. Could also be a re-accumulation pattern as well. So if we're looking into Wyckoff theory, right, the only way we're going to really know the difference is if we get a breakout through the top of this triangular pattern here. And obviously we reclaim this weekly resistance. That's where I think is the most important flip point in the chart. Right, but a breakout of this level in here and a break of this descending trend line here is going to be quite bullish for me. I'll be looking to ride this up to here, right? And a rejection of this level here would obviously be a good area to flip short, right? So definitely be hedging at this level here because it's obviously a good short setup, right? And I still wouldn't be looking to sell at this level here. You want to be selling, if you're playing the descending triangle, you want to be selling from this level here, or if we get back underneath the monthly order block, right, as another level I could be looking to sell at, right? And then we could break down through this level here, get a retest, and then dump off pretty heavily, right? That would be confirming this as actually a distribution pattern, right? But I still think it's probably more likely to be a re-accumulation phase because it's just not the way that Bitcoin seems to play. And, you know, obviously that would be seeing Bitcoin go back down to, you know, the 6K, 4K sort of area, which I think is more unlikely. And most likely what we're going to get is some sort of a pattern where this breaks down and we get sort of a spring action and then continuation up to test new all-time highs, right? So what I'm going to be looking for confirmation of that, and the key level I'm looking for is a close above this level of a weekly resistance, which is 11,600 to 11,000, it's about 11.5 to 11.6, right? So we'll just go back to the weekly just to double check on that, right? So it's this level here. So what I'm looking for is a definitive close on the weekly on top of this area, right? So what we're going to see is a nice big green candle like this sort of pop up. Excuse my drawing, not really a Picasso, right? And then come back to reconfirm this as support, right? And then take off, right? More bullish would be if we didn't even have to come back for a retest, but I definitely will be buying a bullish retest of this level because I think it's one of the main key levels in the chart, right? After this level, there's not really that much resistance. Obviously, there's this point here, right, which is the $14,000 level, or 13.8, which we got rejected from, right, with a big wick, but we're obviously extremely oversold at that point. The other thing as well to take notice of is typically Bitcoin likes to bounce off this 53 level, right, on the charts. I'll actually show you on Bitstamp. Right, so Bitcoin likes to bounce off this 53 level on our RSI, which is this guy right through here. Just adjust this. Right, on our RSI, so you can see back. We'll chuck this onto the log so you can see. Right, so you can see back through Bitcoin's history. Typically when we're in a bull market, we bounce off the 50 to 53 level when it comes down to that phase on the RSI, right? So when we get back to this level, it's always pretty much whenever we've been in a bull market, it's been a really good indication that you're buying the bottom of the market of that dump, right? So we had 3 weeks in a row here on pull down, tag there, tagged here as well, right? When we finally flipped this level, it actually turned into resistance, as you can see here, right? Resistance here, sort of popped through, got rejected, resistance here, and then, you know, we just sort of dump off, right? Then we finally hit being fully oversold on the weekly, and that was the bottom of our market completely, right? Similar to back here, when we finally hit oversold completely, just nipped below it. That was also the bottom of the market back in 2015. Right, so that's a good little indicator you can use in the future for the next time we're having a full market cycle and we're heading towards the bottom. Right, so now we're fully oversold on the weekly, so that's telling us that we're probably going to have a reset soon and start to push back up if we are still bullish. Right, the other thing as well is once the weekly closes tomorrow, I'm guessing that the RSI will be very, very close to tagging our 53 level on the weekly, right? So bulls that are playing the weekly could start to have some interest in this market and be ready to push this up. I would love to see this close above 9,600. All right, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. is the time. All right, if we were to close above here on 9,600, this is literally support, right? So we'll change this guy to green. Here's the settings. Right, so 9,600 is where we want to see this holding. So we're literally closing at support. That would be a nice close. And that would give us, you know, possibility after 3 red weeks down, which hasn't happened very often in Bitcoin's bull markets, that's for sure. Obviously, we get a lot in our bear markets. But it's very rare we get 3 weeks in a row down without having a big rally after that. We're at 4 here, and that's the only other time. 3 and then a rally. 2 and then a rally. So that basically is telling me that if we can hold this level of support, it's actually not a bad buy-in on the weekly, right, to get a bit of a reversal relief rally here, right? If this does fail this weekly level, I'm definitely going to be flipping bearish. Like I said before, I'll be looking for buy-ins in this order block around here from that 8.1 all the way up to 8.4, 8.5 level. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm seeing. September is obviously a really big time in the market because everybody in the US comes back from holidays. So in terms of financial markets and trading, it's sort of like the first week of the year. So that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to leave you now, and good luck with trading for the rest of the week.